Hi everyone, it's me Oля here. You're welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to talk about this weird sort of mix of verb and adverb called ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК. ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК. But before we talk about ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК, I would like to remind you to follow my pages on Instagram at Let's Learn Ukrainian, on TikTok at Let's Learn Ukrainian as well, or on Facebook also Let's Learn Ukrainian. And traditionally taking a moment to appreciate my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting my page. It really means a lot, especially in such difficult for all of us time. Thank you. And now we can finally study. So as I said, ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК is this special, non-changeable form of a verb, which means additional action which accompanies the main action described by a verb. ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК not only names this additional action, but also in a way it describes the main verb. Okay, so because it derives from a verb, it also means action. But like an adverb, it is unchangeable and also describes the action that is expressed by a main verb. And that is exactly what an adverb does. ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК answer the following questions. Що роблячи or що зробивши. Що роблячи, while doing what. Що роблячи, while doing what. Or що зробивши, having done what. Що зробивши. For instance, що роблячи, співаючи, танцюючи, читаючи, шукаючи, діючи, лежачи, вивчаючи. Що зробивши, поспівавши, пожартувавши, прочитавши, знайшовши, and so on. Each of the words from the list that I've given you is a beautiful Ukrainian ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК. How does it work in a sentence? As I said, ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК is expressing an additional action, right? So there has to be a main action described by a verb. So whenever in a sentence there is an ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИк, there has to be дієслово, there has to be a verb. Or we must understand that there is a verb from the context. For instance, він ішов до школи співаючи. Він ішов до школи співаючи. While singing. He went to school while singing. Він йшов is a main action described by a verb ішов. But він йшов how? In what way? Співаючи. Він йшов як? Співаючи. While singing. He was walking while also singing. Or in English, I think the better way to translate it is he sang as he went to school. The two actions happened at the same time. One is main, another one is additional. Another instance. Вона ходила по кімнаті, шукаючи окуляри. Вона ходила по кімнаті, шукаючи окуляри. She was walking in the room, or she was pacing the room, while looking for her glasses. So, вона ходила по кімнаті, шукаючи окуляри. Вона ходила, she was walking or she was pacing, is the main action here, and шукаючи окуляри is the additional action. So we can say, вона ходила як? Вона ходила що роблячи? Вона ходила шукаючи. So in a way we not only name the additional action, but we are describing the main action. She was walking how? In what way? She was walking шукаючи. She walked while searching. Next one. Він відповідав, не роблячи помилок. Він відповідав, не роблячи помилок. He answered. For instance, a teacher asked him something, so he answered, не роблячи помилок. He answered how? Не роблячи помилок, not making mistakes. Він відповідав is the main action described by a verb. Відповідав. And the additional action is не роблячи, not making. Не роблячи чого? Помилок, mistakes. Next one. Вона читала, сидячи на ліжку. Вона читала, сидячи на ліжку. She read while sitting on the bed. She read as she was sitting on the bed. Вона читала is a main action described by a verb. Читала, she read, вона читала, main action, and additional action, сидячи на ліжку, while sitting on a bed. Next one. Граючись, діти співали і танцювали. While playing, or as they played, the kids were laughing and dancing. The main actions here are діти що робили? Співали. Що робили? Танцювали. Співали, танцювали, а main actions described by the verb. But they were singing and dancing how? In what way? Що роблячи? Граючись. As they played, while playing. Okay, so how do we create our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК? ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК, as I told you, means action, additional but action. So it is derived from the verb, okay? And the ending we will choose will greatly depend on whether the aspect of the original verb is perfective or imperfective. So if you're watching this video, I hope that you know already, that you are familiar with the concept of perfective and imperfective Ukrainian verb aspect. If you know that, keep watching. If you don't, I will leave the link on my video somewhere here where I explain this topic, because it will be important for what I will have to say next. So if we are trying to create our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК from the imperfective aspect of the verb, first of all, our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК will respond to question що роблячи, which means while doing what, which gives us a sense of that action that's not being complete yet, okay? That's why we choose imperfective. So in order to create our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК, we must choose one of these endings. Ачи, ячи, учи, ючи. How do we figure out which one we use? In order to figure that out, you need to know how to conjugate Ukrainian verbs. So in order to identify our ending, we need to take the form of present tense of the third person plural, they, вони, okay? And see what kind of ending that form of the verb, of the original verb takes. And that will tell us which ending do we need to choose for our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК. Let's see how it works. For instance, вони бігають, they are running. Вони бігають. Ends in ють. That's why we are going to end our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК in suffix ючи. Okay? Ють, ючи. So бігають, бігаючи. Вони шукають. ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК would be шукаючи. If original form of the verb for they would end in уть, we are going to end our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК in a suffix учи. Okay, makes sense. We had ють, ючи, уть, учи. For instance, тягнуть, ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК would be тягнучи. Вони прагнуть, ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК will be прагнучи. Okay? And if our verb for the third person plural present tense will end in ать, we will end our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК in a suffix ачи. For instance, лежать, but лежачи is our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК. Вони стежать, стежачи is our ДІЄПРИСЛІВНИК. Лежать, лежачи, стежать, стежачи. And of course, if the verb ends in ять, we will end our дієприслівник in ячи. Okay? Говорять, вони говорять, говорячи is our дієприслівник. Говорять, говорячи. Палять, палячи. But if we want to create our дієприслівник from the verbs in their perfective aspect, they will respond to question що робивши or що зробивши. We will take the original verb and add one of these suffixes. Ши or вши. Ши, вши. For that one, we will not take third person they. No, we will take our infinitive, the form of the verb from the dictionary. Before we add вши or ши, we must remove ти. We know that all the infinitive Ukrainian verbs end in ти. Okay, we must remove ти and see what happens next. For instance, побігти. Побігти is our verb in perfective aspect. If we remove ти, we are left with побіг. Побіг. It ends in a consonant. So if that's the case, if we remove ти and we have the leftovers that end in consonant, then we add ши. So побіг will become побігши, and that's going to be our дієприслівник. But if we take our infinitive word, remove ти, and are left with a vowel in the end, then we would add вши. Okay? For instance, заплатити, remove ти, we will be left with заплати. It ends in и, it's a vowel, so we would add вши. So our дієприслівник would be заплативши. Поплакати, remove ти, поплака ends in I, it's a vowel, so we will have to add вши again. Поплакавши. Згадати, remove ти, згада ends in I, it's a vowel, so згадавши is our дієприслівник. Послухати, remove ти, послуха ends in vowel, послухавши. And as you can guess and as you can tell from the number of the examples that I've given you, the majority would end in вши, not in ши. For instance, трошки відпочивши, він побіг знову. Трошки відпочивши, він побіг знову. Okay? Our main action here is побіг. He ran again. Трошки відпочивши, він побіг знову. So our additional action here would be відпочивши. Having taken some rest. Трошки відпочивши, having taken a little rest, he ran again. He started to run again. And відпочивши is our дієприслівник that has been created from the perfective aspect of the verb. Also in Ukrainian we have a big number of verbs that end in ся or с. They are either reflexive or reciprocal verbs. So for them the rules are exactly the same. Just ignore the ся or с, and it works exactly the same. And then just add it back in the very end. For instance, посміхаючись, купаючись, наївшись, насміявшись, наплакавшись, набігавшись, and so on. Also pay attention, I told you that these verbs can end in ся or с, but for дієприслівник we would rather use с. We prefer с. We don't really say посміхаючися or купаючися. No, we would rather say посміхаючись or купаючись. Він подивився на нас посміхаючись. He was smiling as he looked at us. Наївшись вареників, ми пішли працювати. Наївшись вареників, ми пішли працювати. Ми пішли працювати, we went to work. Ми пішли is our main action, we went to work. But how, in what way? Наївшись вареників. Having eaten вареники. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you still have any questions, because I can imagine that you would still have, because that's a topic that can be confusing and complicated. So if you have any, don't hesitate and leave them down below. Also, if you have some interesting video ideas on grammar or vocabulary, whatever you want to see on my channel, do let me know, because these ideas are always appreciated and I'm looking for new ones. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next videos, hopefully very soon. Bye!